It's Friday. Allergies in the air. Pollen is kicking. But we are here at the end of the week for a good old morning coffee, and we're going to start it off with a coffee. Cheers to all my friends, family out there in YouTube land. The week is over. Congratulations. If you made it this far and you're here today, whether you're in the chat or just viewing from home in the solitude of your quietness, hiding out, lurking, coffee cheers to you. The fact that you're here today means what? That you woke up this morning. So happy birthday. Because every day you get one brand new life for 24 hours or however long it is until you fall asleep. And every time you wake up, your life starts over. So no matter how bad or how good or how strange things may have been the day before, that day is over. That life is over, if you want it to be. Because you get one new life every day. And you can do the same thing you've always done and expect different results, which I hear is the definition of insanity. Or you can learn from what went wrong yesterday in your previous lives, and you can change those things. It's really up to you. And today I woke up and chose to put on a lapel microphone, grab my guitar, and come say what's up to you guys. Bolo in the house, #1 chat post first today. Kim is MIA. Saurabh says, it's been a while. Not really. It's only been a few days. That's the funny thing about YouTube is if you come on and you start streaming every day, everyone expects it every day. And if you don't show up every day, everyone starts saying like, it's been so long since we've seen you, and you get messages in your DMs like, where are you? What's going on? Are you okay? Are you all right? It's like, yeah, I just decided not to stream every day this week. But I can't make it through the week without at least checking in on a Friday and saying what's up. But yeah, man, been a pretty good week over here. Started off kind of bad. But the week is long. If Monday and Tuesday are terrible, you take Wednesday, you kind of chill out, reset, and Thursday, Friday is strong. Saturday, Sunday, do whatever the hell you want. I made a major breakthrough this week, to be honest with you. What's up, JYH? I don't know if I told you guys about this or not, but this week I went out and got my car washed. My car's been sitting in the garage. I think I've probably driven 6 times in the last year since the pandemic hit. And I drive it sometimes just to keep it operational. And the dust has accumulated on it to where it got to where here I have this big black car in my garage. And its main purpose has been, I've been using the dust on the car to mark my workouts, how many sets I've done with my finger through the dust. And it's become like a chalkboard, a workout calendar. So after a year of not washing the car, I went to just a simple gas station drive-through car wash. About 10 minutes from my house, drove around, kind of checked out society. You know, I figured I could just go look around, see how things are going. Businesses are starting to open up again and stuff. And so I go to this place, I find it easily. It takes me 10 or 15 minutes, and I get to the car wash and they don't take cards, and I didn't have any cash. I had like $2 in my car. So I had to drive through the car wash, park at the gas station, go inside, use an ATM, buy a bottle of water so I could get change for a 20 so I could go use the car wash. And at first that kind of freaked me out. I said, oh God, I can't touch an ATM. I can't go in a gas station. Who's touched that handle? I don't want to go into a closed environment with people I don't know. And all this kind of stuff started going. And I thought, what am I talking about? Just go into the convenience store, use the ATM like you have 1,000 times, buy something to drink, go to the cashier, get some change, and get your car washed. Because if you're like me, like 99% of my problems are mental. There is no massive danger, I don't believe, according to what they say. It changes all the time, but the last thing I read was that surface-to-surface contact, like touching a door handle or an ATM, is probably not going to give you COVID. Although whoever the quote-unquote authorities are change their mind about every 2 months, so you still want to be cautious. But I got over it, and I did something very simple. I went to a gas station, a convenience store, walked in, bought a bottle of water, got some cash, and I washed my car. And when I came home, I felt like I had been on vacation. I felt like I had traveled the world in an hour. And the car looks like a different car. I mean, you forget what your car looks like. Oh, it was that color of black, I see. It was shiny. It's a nice looking little car. It looked like something that had been sitting on the side of the road for several months. But I want to tell you, man, just going back and doing some little normal thing like washing my car. I told a friend of mine here in town, I said, dude, it was so exhilarating. I just washed my car. I can't believe it. I went into an ATM and went into a convenience store and bought a bottle of water. Major breakthroughs, man. We're on our way back. And, you know, we were laughing. So that was very exciting, sadly. What's up, Liz? She says, hey, Malan, welcome back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. It's Friday. Just chilling. Was out feeding the squirrels. I now have 5 baby squirrels. I think the pregnant squirrel actually already had her babies. And she's just kind of kept some of her baby weight to con me out of extra food. Not sure yet. Play us one of your new songs. Nope. I'm so close to done. Actually, yesterday I think I finished mixing completely 8 songs. I think it's completely mixed. Like there's little things, you know, guitar solo's too quiet, a guitar part's too loud, the vocals are too loud, turn this harmony down. It's really fun. And I'm one of these guys who wants to do every step of the process myself. So at this point, I'm writing the songs, I'm performing all the instruments, I'm recording the songs, I'm engineering it, I'm mixing it, I'm doing the artwork myself, I'm doing the mastering myself. I'm going to try. And And I just love to I want to master every single aspect of the music making process to where I don't have to depend on anyone for anything at all. If I want to go into a great studio, I'll go in a great studio. But if I don't want to, I usually don't want to, I can do it at my house. And every time that I do it, it sounds a little better and comes out a little better. And I feel more comfortable. Because I don't know about you guys, but I can only really do a few things. Everything else in life confuses the living hell out of me. For most of my life, all I could really do was play the guitar and sing. That was the only thing that made sense to me. Music. If you gave me any instrument, a sitar, a horn, a couple of sticks and a wooden block, I could make songs out of it. And I could sing and write lyrics for it. That was it. That was all I could do in life. And then later on, the internet hit. And that's the only other thing in the world that made sense to me, ever. Like driving a car, I'm terrible at it. Directions and getting around town, I'll get lost anywhere. Pointless for me. Even with GPS, I get lost. School, terrible at all subjects. Dating, don't even ask me about it. Society, socializing, don't even try it. But there's something about music and the internet that makes sense. So after singing and playing guitar for decades, it's fun to be the bass player and the drummer, and play the lead guitar, play some solos, and mix and engineer, figure out how all that works, and then mastering it myself, which is kind of the final stage of a music production where they kind of just balance out all the levels, make everything sound cohesive, make sure it sounds good on different devices, and kind of get it radio ready or whatever, quote unquote radio ready. For most of my young life, you had to pay a studio hundreds of thousands of dollars to do an album, a producer in a studio. It would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, if you wanted to make a video, it could be $1 million. Mastering, thousands of dollars. Now you can basically do it all yourself if you want to. I was reading an article from a massive mastering engineer who's done lots and lots of major albums, huge hits, #1 albums going all the way back for years and years and years. And they asked him, they said, in today's day and age with technology, can an artist can they master their own album? And he said, you know, my entire career, which is, 30 years or 40 years of mastering albums, he said, for my entire career, I would have always said no, and I would have laughed in your face. He said, but right now, absolutely they can. The tools that you can download and put on your computer are comparable to the tools that we use. What you don't get as a home mastering engineer is the experience, the room. They have these rooms dialed in for sound, and they're pros. They've been doing it forever. But he said, you can get 85% of the way there at home. He said, I probably shouldn't say this out loud. The question is, can I do it? I don't know. I know that I'm better at it now than I was when I first started. And that's how everything works. My first marketing campaign I ran online, I lost $3,000. And then it got better. The first hat I bought on the internet was terrible. It didn't even fit. Then I slowly got better at buying things online that would fit. Fun fact, you wouldn't think about it, but this is a 1960s Resistol cowboy hat. I think it's 60s. And when you buy vintage, which is what I like the most, you have to buy a size or two bigger, because the opposite of what you would think happens to hats over time. older hats shrink. You would think they would stretch from being worn and taken off and put on and worn and everything. You'd think they stretch, but they don't. When they get wet from sweat, just general like sweat or rain or anything, they shrink. So if you buy an older hat, you have to buy a bigger size. It took me about 5 hats to learn that lesson. And is why my number 1 rule when buying clothing items online is buy cheap. Because you're gonna have to buy 4 or 5 of them to get something that actually fits. So instead of buying a hat for $250, find you a hat for $40. Actually, I think this one I got for 28 bucks on an eBay auction, which is wild because some of these sell for $800 to $1,000. What's up, Billy Bell? Coffee cheers to you. We're just rambling and talking, seeing what you guys are up to. Wrapping up the week, you know, the usual ordeal. If you guys are with me here and listening and paying attention, click the like button real quick. Let's get this up to a couple more likes. Let's see where we can get. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I know it's a little strange. Some people have been like, we really missed you. You've been gone a long time. You realize I don't think we've streamed for Monday, Tuesday, maybe 4 days. It's been 4 days. So when you go from streaming once every 6 months to once 5 days a week, but boy, that every day can really burn you out. And I think some of the YouTubers that have giant audiences and they show up every day and like 10,000 people watch their streams, you can see them have like physical breakdowns, mental breakdowns. Their mind starts to get weird. They start looking real bad. They're not sleeping. Some of these guys stream 8 hours a day. And that's their business. You know, they stream for 8 hours a day about whatever topic. And most of them take donations or they have a business that they recommend or products they recommend and stuff. But you can always tell when they're burnt out. I mean, just totally burned out. I've been watching one guy and he's a younger guy. He looked pretty normal in the beginning and then his channel exploded. He went from like 3,000 subscribers to 130,000 now in just like a month. And you can see it on his face. He's pale, red splotches on his face. He looks bad. But that's what happens. It is a strange thing, YouTube. I've actually been checking out this new website called Odyssey, which is don't ask me the definition of it exactly, but it looks to be like not a crypto, what's the word I'm looking for? A blockchain YouTube, where you can't get banned, you can't get blocked. They're not going to shut you down because you talked about one controversial thing. They're not going to demonetize you because you're not politically correct. And it's picking up steam. There have been a lot of contenders for the YouTube throne, but over the years, they've all failed. And you know, to be honest, people have talked to me about their big internet ideas for the last decade or more. And most of the time when someone previously recommended something, or they said, I'm going to start a YouTube, or I'm going to start a social network, I would just laugh at them and go, what are you thinking? Why would you even... I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube have that wrapped up. There's no point. But now I think is the perfect time if you were going to start a social network or a YouTube. It's time that it could work. And all you would have to do is not censor or be politically biased. That's all you'd have to do. Go back to the beginning of what social media was supposed to be and build that. Make it fair for everyone. Because YouTube, actually their CEO put out a strange comment the other day. She said that it's way too easy for someone just to broadcast from their basement. So we are amplifying authoritative voices, which basically means YouTube, which is literally, the name is you on TV, right? It's a TV for you. That was the original thing. Their tagline was broadcast yourself, I believe. They're now saying that people who broadcast from their homes are irrelevant and they're gonna, you know, CBS, ABC, NBC, all these stations are gonna take precedence, or whoever they call authoritative voices. which kind of goes against the entire thing that YouTube was great for. What I liked about YouTube was you could tune in and find the craziest people ever streaming themselves live from their living rooms. And so if you wanted to be a potential competitor for YouTube, all you would have to do is make a video site that encourages people to stream from their bedrooms and just reset the thing. Because YouTube at this point, it is cable television is what it feels like. If you say the wrong words, you get demonetized. If they don't like what you're doing and it's totally arbitrary, you get shut down. But the upside of YouTube is it has the biggest audience ever. So if you make a video called How to Quit Your Job and Survive, it can get 100,000 views, whereas on Odyssey it might get 4. Maybe, I don't know. I might start like uploading to both platforms just to see what happens. I wonder, do you guys use it at all? Have you even heard the name Odyssey? I only heard about it because I started following a lot of blockchain people on Twitter. Unfollowed most of them, but someone tweeted about Odyssey and I checked it out and it looks really cool. What's up, Stoyan? What's up, Claudius? What's up, Jonatas? Says, hey, Matt, hello, family, what's up? I wonder if anyone in the stream has ever heard of Odyssey. Nope, doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's pretty new. But it's interesting. We're at an interesting time where social media, like the internet in general, is no longer what it used to be. And blockchain and DeFi seem to be restarting the internet as it used to be, or maybe even better, decentralized, because now they see, like, oh, the internet really isn't a free place to hang out. It's being run by a couple of gigantic corporations, just like everything in the real world before the internet. They've taken over. These new monsters have showed up and taken over the whole thing. But what am I talking about? I don't even know. I'm just here to play guitar and drink coffee. That's one of the songs from the new record, Liz. I'll play that, just the guitar riff for you. Something like that. That's a song called Carry You Away. So yeah, the next step with the record is to upload it, or to finish the mastering and finish it all, and then upload it to the streaming sites. And then it'll be out there. Then I can start on the next one. What's that on the guitar's arm? I'm an expert only in listening. Oh, it's called a capo. It tunes the guitar like to a different note. So if it's like this usually, that's a regular tuning. And you put this on. Now you're in a, or you can go real high. Just a cool little way to move it around. And when you do that, it allows you to use your same finger placements, but play in different keys and play higher notes. So what I like to do is if you record a song low, you know, if one part's really low, and then you do a counterpart that's really high, but it's basically the same notes. Makes it sound cool. Most of my life I thought they were for hippies, and I thought they were stupid, and if you used a capo you weren't talented enough to play a real guitar, and no real player would use it, and all this kind of goofy stuff. Then I started using them. I think it was when I started listening to Nick Drake. And he used a capo and a bunch of strange tunings. And so I started doing that and I fell in love. Changed my whole way of playing. If you've never heard of Nick Drake, you might want to check him out. He was he's now a legendary folk singer, one of the first folk singers from like maybe the 60s. Got the record deal, but he was a kind of a mental case. He couldn't, you know, he was real filled with anxiety and couldn't perform live, couldn't do interviews and stuff, and his albums didn't sell well. And he got real depressed and ended up overdosing on some depression meds in his mother's house in his childhood bedroom. Then over like 20 years later, his music started to leak out and people started listening to it. And his legend has just been growing and growing and growing. I think when he was alive, his albums sold 2,000 or 3,000 copies apiece. I mean, they were total flops. They were telling him he was going to be the next Bob Dylan and all this stuff. And then it just didn't happen. But after his death, he's getting bigger and bigger all the time. A fascinating story, man, and some absolutely breathtakingly beautiful music. If you're into like sad love, poetry, folk music, dark though, like whispering, singing, and his voice is deep and dark, it's some of the best you'll ever hear. His name is Nick Drake. He has 3 albums. Let me see if I can remember them. 5 Leaves Left, I think it was the first one, or maybe the second one. 5 Leaves Left, Brighter Later, and Pink Moon. They're all good albums, but Pink Moon might be my favorite. Because on Pink Moon, he finally told the producer, no more of this, I don't want a band. Like his first 2 albums, they added drums, bass, horns, strings, fiddle players, background singers, everything. And on his 3rd record, his final record, I believe, Pink Moon, he came in and he said, no, none of that. Just me and an acoustic, like I've always done, just hit record and this is it. None of this bullshit. And they recorded him just by himself finally. And to me, it's his best work. Because while those studio musicians that played with him are great, they're fantastic. They're probably better musicians than he is. But it just dilutes the Nick Drake magic. And there's some artists, they just need a guitar and a microphone. Nothing else. Everything you add on top of that makes it worse. Now, if the singer-songwriter isn't very good, you surround him with as many musicians as possible, you know? But there's some artists like, what's the guy's name? Jose Gonzalez, I think. Plays a classical acoustic and sings, and there's really no instrumentation at all. He does do stuff with bands and orchestras from time to time, but he really shines when it's just him and his little acoustic classical, and he sings. There's no multi-tracking on the vocals like some of the videos that I've seen. It's just him with a guitar singing. And it's perfect. Anything you add to that takes away. That's kind of a cool accident. That's what it was, E. Well, we're 30 minutes in. The show about nothing keeps moving. Liz says, I'm driving down the road in my pickup truck, windows open, breathing the fresh air. Sounds like a country song, girl. Driving down the road in my pickup truck, got the windows open, and I'm breathing in the fresh air. Yada, 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 hey. I'm driving down the road in my pickup truck, I got the windows open, breathing in the fresh air. Yada, yada, hey. See how easy that is? Yeah, it's actually one of my goals is to, every time I start recording music, I say I'm going to start, it's going to be one vocal track and one guitar. And by the end of it, I've got symphonies and fiddle players and banjo sound, drums, bass, keyboards, Hammond B3 organs, 72 backup vocals. And it's hilarious. It always kind of just takes on a life of its own. Who am I to stand in the way of music? Oh man, speaking of music, I watched a great documentary last night, but it's only going to be great if you're around my age. And it was a documentary about the band Quiet Riot, who were huge, massively huge in the early 80s. They were the biggest band in the world for about 1 or 2 years. They were the first heavy metal band to ever be #1 on the Billboard charts. And when they were #1, they knocked off, Michael Jackson's Thriller had been #1 forever. I think the Police put out Synchronicity and it bumped Thriller off of #1 after like months and months and months of being #1. But Quiet Riot started at like #10, and then their MTV videos kind of kicked them up to #5. Then they jumped over Thriller to #2, and then they jumped over the Police to #1. So they were selling more than Michael Jackson's Thriller and the Police Synchronicity, which was another huge album. That's how big they were. And then it was just over a few years later. They imploded like most people do. But the documentary was about Quiet Riot, and it's not a super high production type of thing. Whoever did it, it looks like they used relatively cheap cameras. It doesn't look like a major documentary. But the information, if you were around during those days, Liz, I know you know who I'm talking about. I watched that last night, stayed up late to watch it too. I went to bed about an hour later than usual, didn't even know it because I was so wrapped up in the documentary. I love watching documentaries about those old bands I used to love as a little kid. And then finding out what happened behind the scenes, it's so fascinating. That's why I read all those those music biographies. I probably read 70, 80 of them at this point. To me, it's the most fascinating stuff in the world. And people go like, how do you have time to read 80 music biographies? Well, #1, I don't watch the news. And I rarely watch Netflix and YouTube. I try to keep that to a minimum as well. More now so than ever because I read so many books, I just burned myself out on reading books. Bolo says, come on, feel the noise. Yeah, exactly. Bolo's the right age. You know who I'm talking about. And you watch those videos now and kids can't imagine that was ever cool, but it was cool. Like everybody was wearing spandex and cut off jean jackets and spikes and headbands, like sweatbands on their head. And man, the 80s were a really unique time. If you weren't there, you missed it. I'm telling you, I'm so glad I was born when I was because I got to witness the end of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. And then to me, maybe I got old, but after about 2000, music just fell apart. It's terrible. There's very little that interests me anymore. And it's getting worse all the time, which is a good news because usually things get so bad musically that some sort of a revolution comes. Like Nirvana's about to come is how I feel. Like in the late 80s, early 90s, Nirvana came in Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam. And they swept out all the shit that was going on, and music was good again for another 5 or 6 years. And I feel like we're at the point now where there's so much crap, we need a broom to come through and sweep it up. Stoyan says, did anyone try to redirect traffic from a landing page to a CPA offer before getting the product you promised? Does it work? I don't understand what that question means, my man. Try saying it again. Before getting the product you promised. I don't know what that is. Oh, I think I know what you mean. Like if they click on an ad for a watch and you show them first a landing page about a hat. Is that what you mean? Yeah, that is what you mean. And yes, I have seen that work before. You've reminded me of something I haven't thought about in a long time. But the only time that I've seen it work, I guess, what was that? They were two offers that were very closely aligned. And a friend of mine was running an offer for this hot, I won't say what it was, but it was in a very hot vertical. And everybody was making a killing with it. It was doing really well. He accidentally sent the traffic to a landing page for a similar product, but it was totally different. It's like, let me see if I can figure out a way to, like, let's say it was car insurance. That was the initial ad. They'd land on the page and it would be it was a page about health insurance. It was insurance, but it was the wrong offer. And he made a mistake. But he started making a killing. And I remember him messaging me on Instant Messenger way back in the day. He goes, dude, you are not going to believe this. I put the wrong landing page up for a different offer. So the ad says one thing, they're coming to my site and it's a different page about a completely different thing. And I'm making more than I was making with the correct offer. And we all tried it, and there was varying levels of success. My question would be, why did you ask that question? What are you thinking of doing? Like, what's the concept? Because unless you did it on accident, I don't know how, like that was an accident. It was a one-time thing and it wasn't really repeatable. But it's worth a shot. The truth is with the marketing thing, if you have really, really, really great offers that are great and they convert like fire, you could have an ad for a car insurance offer and send them to a page for a new watch and it'll convert. That's why I tell people sometimes, they're like, everybody's worried about the little tips and tricks, like how do I add a JavaScript to the page that'll make on exit intent, like a pop-up box comes up, or how could I work on, maybe I'll test the effects on the image, like the hero image, I'll try upping the contrast or lowering the brightness. It's like, well, is it profitable? No, not yet, but it's like, well, your offer probably sucks. If you find a great offer, you don't have to worry about all that little stuff. It'll convert on accident. All right, Story, and I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna try to ask you later on if we can remember how that went. I wanna know. Are you in Mad Society? I don't know if you are. If you are, post in there or send me a message or whatever. If not, I'll see you here. Speaking of campaigns, let's see what's going on out there in the world. No, not the best day. But every day is not the best day. Watching GameStop and AMC drop like rocks. GME's at 165, AMC at 955. That's crazy. GME was in the 200s just last week, and AMC was at $11 just a week ago. But anyway, that's what I'm up to. I just wanted to check in with you guys, see what's happening. It's Friday. Wish you well. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching the videos I put out this week. What did I put out? I put out a video called How to Record an Album. That's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, but also real explanation of what it's like to make a record or paint a picture or write a blog post or anything that you put out in public. The chaos that you go through. And then there was one other that I think I put out earlier in the week that was a clip from one of the morning coffee sessions. But yeah, man, that's all. That's all I've got going on. Gonna enjoy an easy weekend, trying to just take it easy. Jump in my car, drive around. Now that it's clean, I gotta drive it around. Go see if the human beings are... I actually saw something that made my heart shine while I was out the other day. There's a Mexican restaurant, I cannot remember the name of it, Casa Vega. It's kind of one of those, like, whatever you want to call it, famous places, iconic places maybe. You walk in there and there's every director, actor, producer type people there. A lot of meetings happen there. It's real hard to get into. It was always packed. You couldn't even get a drink at the bar. You couldn't even get in. And when they closed, it was very sad, because it was like this iconic place. And they just opened to indoor and outdoor dining again. So it's kind of like I texted a friend of mine. I said, I went and got a car wash, and when I came home, I just went, like, oh my God, I think it's wrapping up. You know, people are obviously still getting sick, and that's terrible, but in general, it seems like this thing is wrapping itself up, you know. Jay says, I like that list video. Good weekend all. I hope you liked the list video. I'm never sure about exactly what I said when I posted. I'm like, why am I even doing this? In fact, I'd say every time I've ever streamed on YouTube or ever written a blog post or ever posted a YouTube video, Instagram post, everything, as soon as I'd get done with it, I go, what's wrong with me? Why do I do that? Why did I do that? Why do I do this? And it beats me up, and I just try to forget about it because of people like you. I get emails from around the world, even this small little channel. I mean, from all over the world. India, Japan, China, Brazil, Africa. You pick a country, pick a continent. And I get these messages, I'm waving at the squirrel. I get these messages from people like, hey, I watched a video of yours from 3 years ago, and it helped me in some way. Sometimes they say it changed their life. Sometimes it say that it gave them the confidence to leave their village, get on a boat, and go to to the UK or something. And now they're working on a laptop from coffee shops, making enough money to scrape by. And in that way, they've been set free. And so if I can be in any way helpful to set anybody free, then every silly video that I'm embarrassed about later is worth it. And it confuses my friends. They're like, why do you post yourself on YouTube? I said, look, man, if you could read my emails, you would get it. This is a weird connection. It's a very strange connection, YouTube, or the internet in general. Because while we're not in the same room, there's a squirrel on my roof. I thought it was an earthquake. Because while we're not in the same room, we are together in a weird way. And that's what the internet is supposed to do before it was invaded by news companies and all this stuff. So in our own little weird way, this little stream and this YouTube channel and my blog, we're keeping it, it feels like the way the internet used to feel, but if you go outside, if I go outside of my own little world, it gets very ugly very quickly. Like Mike Patton said, I believe, I read in an interview, they said, how do you operate in the music business for so long, and you were kind of, you know, Faith No More's day is over. And he said, he said, what I recommend is, or what I've done is I just made my own little corner in hell, and I've tried to make it as nice as possible. You know, like the music business is hell. I've just made my own little corner in it, and I've tried to make it as good as possible. I'm butchering his quote, but it was something like that that stuck with me. Just make your own little corner in hell. Work with the people you like to work with, talk to the people you like to talk with. Tune the rest out. And tune out anyone who constantly tries to drag you back into it. Like, hey, you're not miserable enough. You should be watching the news, man. There's a lot to be miserable about. Nah. I'm just gonna stay here in my little corner in hell with a guitar and a microphone and a cup of coffee. Make my own records, be my own record label, make my own videos, teach myself everything I need to know with no school, and talk to people. And that's how you've changed the world. Or something. Time to go, guys. Everybody have a great week. I'm gonna sit back and drink the rest of this coffee and check my campaigns. Work on some music. And just try to keep my head together. And I hope you do the same. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the video and you had any kind of fun today, click the like button. That lets me know you're here. And if you want to say something in the comments, please do. That's our little bulletin board community, if you will. And I try to respond to just about everybody, if you've noticed. Boy, I need to wake up. I might need to make some more coffee. I can see it in my face that I need to wake up a little bit more. So that's it. Time to make some more coffee. Everybody have a great damn day. Bolo, thanks for tuning in. Hygo, I have no idea about SEO niche websites at this moment. Jenwick, Sacred Beats is here. What's up, man? You snuck in. I didn't even see you. Billy Bell, thanks for tuning in. Sarab, Jen, always a pleasure. Stoyan, thanks for your questions. Hygo, ask me another time when we're closer to the beginning of a stream and I'll maybe be able to think of something. I don't have an answer for everything. I haven't done SEO in 13 years outside of my own blog. But there are plenty of goofballs out there who will sell you a $99 PDF on how to search for an SEO niche, or maybe you could get some coaching for the low, low price of $22,000. Or you could Google that question and find some free information and probably figure it out for yourself. That's how I've learned everything I know. Google. In fact, I would say all of the experiments that I've tried, including recently, that I see on like guru websites or Twitters. Like I recently just did a split test based on something that a gigantic guru, SEO guru recommended to raise landing page ROI. And I tested it and it lost 50% compared to mine that I just made up off the top of my head. It did terrible. So remember, when someone recommends a trick or a tip or a tactic, doesn't mean it's going to work. So keep that test small, because sometimes those guys are all full of shit. There you go, Hygo. Sarab has a few courses about SEO that he could share some information with you. You guys connect there. I would love that. Why don't you guys exchange emails or something and you can talk. I love that. As always, have a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Don't let the news get you down. Keep your head up. Get in where you fit in. And remember, macho Camacho, macho Camacho, macho Camacho. As always, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week, man. Everybody have a great day. Coffee cheers on the way out. You can grab one of these wonderful coffee mugs at malandarras.com/mug. Everybody have a great day. Liz, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the drive. Sarab, Hygo, you guys figure it out in the chat and I'll check in with you later. And post it in the comments if you figure something out to help somebody else later on, okay? All right. I will see you in the future. Coffee cheers, boys and girls. Everybody have a great damn day. So Rob, Hygo, let me know what you find. Later, guys. As Debbie Dow would say, thank you, goodbye now. Peace out.